Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ginny from Ginny Music, and I teach beginner guitar to adults. I asked for questions regarding scales this week, and we got a few really good questions, and I'm going to take a couple minutes to answer them. I'm going to give simplified answers just for the sake of time. So I'll dive right in. The first one, Victoria asked, is it good to do scales as a warm-up? Well, I'll say this, it's not necessarily bad. It's not inherently good or bad. It depends on your goals. So if you are hoping to just be a rhythm guitar player, you want to be able to play strum chords and play along with people singing or accompany yourself, scales are not super crucial. There's probably some other things that you could be doing that would be just as beneficial. However, I will say scales are always good to know and understand, but to spend lots of time doing them each day might be overkill. So if you want to play lead guitar, however, you want to be able to play riffs, you're probably playing electric guitar, then it's more useful and beneficial for you to be spending more time doing scales. The next question, Annie asked, when is it best to start learning scales? Great question. I would not say there's necessarily a right or wrong time, but I don't recommend starting right away when you first begin learning guitar. I wouldn't start with scales. I would start with some, maybe like a spider exercise kind of thing to develop dexterity and in your fingers and get calluses. But then get right into playing chords, strumming, and playing along with songs, either or backing tracks or songs on YouTube, things like that. Get right into playing. Scales, for most people, are kind of like eating your veggies. They're like, you do it, you just kind of trudge through because you know it's good for you. As adults who are learning to play, it's a little different than children who you don't know what they're going to do with their musical skills. You know what you want, you know where you want to go. So if you want to be able to play lead guitar and you want to be able to finger pick or play melodies, things like that, you spend a little more time playing scales. But basically the short answer is whenever you want to start learning scales. Don't push it. If you're not interested in it, don't waste your time. But when you get to the point that you're like, I want to know more about, what's this big deal about scales? Then dive in and start learning, which leads to the next question. Why learn scales? Michael asked. He had a mom that was a piano teacher, kind of like my kids. I'm a piano teacher and I teach a lot of different instruments. And he remembers hearing her, preach the virtues of practicing your scales. So he's like, okay, he understands music is based on scales, or why? What do we do with it? We learn these scales, now what do we do? So the short answer is the best practical thing for you to do with scales in the beginning is to figure out how to play melodies using the different scales. So for example, figure out how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. It starts on the third note of the scale. So it's like 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 5, 5. Okay, so figure out how to do Mary Had a Little Lamb using any scale that you've played so far once you learn playing scales. So that's called transposing it. When you play it in the C scale and then you change it and you play it in the D scale or B flat scale, that's called transposing the song. So play songs in all the different scales, in all the different keys. Then the next question Rich asked is a great one. Is there a best sequence for learning how to play scales, for learning scales? So here's my sequence. First, just learn to play a major scale starting on an open string and just staying on the string the whole way up to the scale. So from do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so start with an open string and then skip 2, skips to 2, skip 1, skip 2, skip 2, skip 2, skip 1, and you'll end where the double dots are. Okay, I have another video on that. You can feel free to watch that. After you do one string scale, I would recommend E scale, for example. Next step is take it across the string. So instead of just playing it the whole way up one string, you'll play open E, and then you'll play second finger on E string, second fret, and then fourth fret, then go to the A string open, second fret, fourth fret, and then the D string, fret 1 and fret 2, and you've just played the whole E scale across 3 strings. There's lots of videos on the internet on how to do that. So I would start again. So start first playing a scale, like an E scale, on one string, then playing it across the strings. So instead of going linearly, you're traveling across the strings. And then third, start with the C scale. Learn the C major scale next. And then after you do the C major scale, you've learned the major scale shape, and you can transpose, you can put that anywhere on the guitar. I hope that answered some of your questions. If you have any more questions as a result of this video, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to send them my way. All right, happy practicing.